Okay, we are live. Hi everyone, Dan here from the Geek Physique. I'm joined by my mate, Mystic Moose. How are you doing, Moose?
I am good, man. I'm good. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
No, it's a
Yeah,
pleasure, man. It's a
looking
pleasure.
forward to it.
Sick. So, Musonda Primo, am I pronouncing that correctly?
Yep, you didn't butcher it completely. It's not a problem. At least look back in school. If you remember back in school, yeah, you have to. My name is one of those ones that's like, you know what? They're gonna fuck it up, but it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But now you did good. You did good.
Yeah. I actually still get it with my surname sometimes, Dos Santos. Like, I
Dos
get it.
Santos.
Yeah, they spell it
Yeah.
wrong and all that. Like, my banking got messed up once because they had it spelt wrong. All this.
Man's not no access to his funds. That's a L. That's a L.
Exactly.
You're trying to go out or you're trying to buy that protein shake as you do, right? And it's just like card declined. It's like what? Why? Your last name is looking a bit sketchy still. Are you sure you're not a
Exactly,
different De
man.
Santos? Yeah,
Yeah. Exactly, man. So I've got a few topics I want to get into today, bro, and
sure.
then we can just kind of just run with it. So,
All right.
what's the story behind Mystic Moose? Tell me about
Boy, where do you want me to begin? Let's go like all the way back. Okay, let's go all the way back. So I mean, it's weird. The name is kind of like inspired from like childhood in the sense of, I watched a lot of anime, bro, back in the day. And even now to this, like today, a little bit here and there, but not as much as before for sure. I still don't have time now to keep up. But before, I used to watch like Dragon Ball Z, which I'm sure like a lot of people would have heard of. And my favorite character to this day is literally Gohan. And in his teen state, dude was an OG badass. He's a good, like, how do you say, like a good kind of fictional character to kind of model yourself after. He was very like timid, he was friendly, like he didn't really like to fight, but he had the potential, if that made sense.
that. Got
So
you.
he had the capability to fight, but this dude decided, look, I'm gonna keep it in check. I'm gonna, be humble about it. And literally, he grew up, became a scholar at the end of the day as well. Went on to have like a family, kids, and everything like that. So he didn't go down the same path as his father. Like everyone knows Goku out here. This dude just loves to fight. This guy is reckless with
Okay,
it.
so this guy is
Yeah,
like he's more on like the down low than
he's
Goku. Because I
more.
know about Goku, but
Yeah, Goku, bro. Everyone knows about Goku's out here. This dude is out here challenging everyone left, right, center, trying to be the strongest in the universe. This guy's doing the most. So in terms of goals and aspirations, this guy's like up there. And then you've literally got Gohan, who's like, look, I'm not trying to be the strongest in the world. I'm literally just trying to go to school, get an education, be a smart dude, but also I have the capability to fight though too. So if the need arises, he's there. He's able to defend himself. But again, like I said, in his like top state, which is when he was fighting this guy called Boo, they called him Ultimate Gohan or Mystic Gohan, and that's where my name kind of comes from. And the reason why it's stuck is because I use a different, actually, like a definition. It's like, yeah, Mystic Moose tied to Mystic Gohan in the sense of the inspiration, but the meaning is more tied to the fact that I just make shit happen, bro. It's weird. Like it's just in the sense of
it's a good thing to model
you
yourself
won't
on.
see it. You won't see it, but you just make shit happen. Like like you'd assume, okay, look, what's he doing now? Like you know what I mean? And it's just like next day you'll find out, oh shit, he's doing this or he's doing that or he's now there. He was back there, now he's here. How did he
There's
get
there's,
there? No
there's
one
that bit of,
knows.
bit of mystery to him, yeah. That's
Bit
why
of mystery.
Mystic
That's
Moose,
why.
right?
Yeah. We
Okay,
just
okay.
anything it is, anything you want, I just make that shit happen. That's how I
Nice.
that's how I see it.
I like
Yeah.
it. I like it, man. It's a good thing to model yourself from as well. And there's another topic I want to get into today in a bit,
Sure.
which
Yeah.
kind of draws from that. But
Yeah.
you're also in healthcare management and consultancy, or you're a consultant. Sorry. So talk to me a
Yeah.
bit about that, man. How did you get into that?
Well, let's again. I'm gonna go dial it back as well. Like back to uni now. So we're doing biomedical science, right? Just to give you a bit of background, I studied biomedical science at
Okay.
University of Essex. That's where I was born, basically. Um, and essentially, what I wanted to do was I wanted to actually transition into doing medicine. Like at the end of the course,
Yeah,
as
yeah.
most aspiring biomedical scientists aim to do, but never achieve. But literally, so what ended up happening is I finished my course, biomedical science, and then I also did a master's in infection immunity at UCL. and that was quite interesting. That was quite fun. That's where I learned about global health and epidemiology, and that's where I in that topic I literally found about the impact that you can make on a like population wide level. If you go in at the primary care level, like where's the first interaction people usually have with healthcare? It's most likely GPs, right?
Yep. Yeah.
And for me, I've had a background of working with GPs for a long time. Like when I was young, like 15, 16, in the summer holidays, my parents would not let me chill at home, do nothing. They would either make sure that I was out playing tennis, doing a sport, something like active, right? I always had my dad as an example. This guy was active. This guy is still active to this day. Actually, he goes to the same gym as me now. Insane, but but literally, it's funny. I just like I'm gonna
count on the rings.
Exactly, he's gonna count on the rings. I'm like, what's he doing? No, he's a runner. He just runs he does a lot of cardio. But yeah, coming back to it, it's literally a case of from young, I literally they wouldn't let me sit at home and do nothing. So that led to me going to GPs to like shadow them, and I found a mentor, like a practice manager a long time ago, by the name of Billy. This guy, he's actually a big determinant for what I've become today, to be honest. I won't lie to you. I always tell him,
kind of like a mentor then, yeah.
Exactly. I told him, I was like, this is your fault, like as a joke. I'm like, this is your fault. You built this, you created this, like, you're part of this. And I'm forever grateful, to be honest. He taught me a lot of stuff about healthcare. And yeah, through shadowing him and his team over like 5, 6, 7 years, because I'd go every summer. Some summers I wouldn't go. Summers I wouldn't go, but I would be there for like 3-4 months. So I'd see like what it's like, trying to get an appointment, all of these things, what reception have to do, what the manager does on a day-to-day basis, the tasks that he has to take care of in the back end.
So you saw kind of like every level of that.
I saw every level. Yeah, exactly. Man, I was answering phones at the age of like 17, 18, like, just like, what's the GP, like what can I, my name is X, what can I get for you, that kind of thing. So customer service always there, that kind of thing. So I learned early about that too.
Did you find it interesting from the start, or was it like, oh, this is a job, or was it a bit of both? Was it like, okay, it's good?
It's a bit of both. It's a bit of both, because I'd never worked a day in my life. So for me, it's like, it was my first kind of voluntary role. I wasn't paid for it or anything. I would just go there in the morning from like 9 to 1, take notes, come home, read the notes. What did I learn? What did I see that was out of the ordinary? Like, I'd have little stories and stuff from each of the days that I'd go. And then, I got to 18, went to uni, biomedical science, studied. And then I was thinking to myself, I'm going to be a doctor, because I've seen it, like GP, I've seen it. I've seen what they do. Like, I figured, okay, this makes sense now. I can tie it together. And I figured, okay, I'll go down the GP route. But then I don't know, something happened. Something changed my mind I think it was towards the end of my final year. I still wanted to take the exam take the UK CAT I still wanted to take that exam just to see.
And is that like to transition from what you were doing into medicine, basically?
So you needed a 2-1 at uni. So you needed a 2-1 at uni, like a 2-1 in your degree, in your undergrad. Then you needed the UK CAT score of like, I think a high UK, a competitive one, 750, 800 and above, just to get an interview. Now, so I took the UK CAT, I got a decent score, and then I was thinking to myself, do I actually want to apply to get in now? So I was just thinking to myself, I'm like, do you know what? Something is screaming to me, don't do this. Like internally, something was screaming to me, don't do this. Like, this is the path that your parents want you to take. But the path I want to take is more business orientated. I was thinking more of a bigger scale. Like, I can help more people on a larger scale if I become more like a leader or manager in that sense. Again, this comes back to like my idea of a polyclinic. There's a lot of things. So it's like, my idea was basically geared towards polyclinic. That's what I'm thinking, multiple levels.
What do you mean by polyclinic?
So a polyclinic is where you come in and you don't necessarily, it's not just primary care where you can get your bloods done. You can get a GP, you got a dentist, you could get x-rays. Like, it's almost a mini hospital.
Okay, I've got you.
So you can get multiple things done in a polyclinic.
So
you've got dermatology. So you basically, how the structure of the model would be is you rent the building, and in each room would be house different specialties, or different floors. Different floors will have different specialties on there. So you could have like if you're a GP, let's say you come in and you see the GP, and they say, look, you need a blood test done, and yeah, you know what, also gonna refer you to see the dentist. You can all go in one clinic, like, you know, one day if you want. You go in, see the doctor, they would be on the first floor, then on the second or the third floor, go get your bloods done. You get the results within 24, 48 hours. And then, yeah, if you need to see the secondary care, that's something else. You get a referral when you're out.
Is that something you'd like to set up in the long run, or is it just something you think about, or?
It's something which first of all, I have to prepare myself. So I'm in the stage where, like, again, I'm in healthcare management. So I'm in the stage of now learning the intricacies of running a GP practice. I'm an operations manager at the moment. So
yep.
I run GPs. So this is what I do on a day-to-day basis, 9 to 5, or more likely my schedule is actually different. It's more like 11 to 7:30 or 11 to 8. I don't need to be in at like 8 a.m. because I'm not really patient facing. So yeah, my day-to-day job is basically based on how can we optimize healthcare.
Yep.
Like, how can we demand management? Like my job is more focused around key performance indicators. Like, let's say patients have diabetes. How are we going to get the majority of them seen, 90% of these seen within our GP practice over the year? I come up with a plan, put it into place. What are our barriers? I see it, and then I solve for the problems too. The finance side is a side which I'm currently learning, and that's the side where I'd say I'm lacking in, because I didn't study a master's in business management or anything like that. So it's one of those where, like, I'm learning how to do people's pensions. I'm also learning, budget, accounting, how to do a balance sheet, like all of these things, these little things, in order to run. Like, if I was to run a polyclinic on my own, I would need all of this knowledge for sure.
Okay, so if you ever did want to do that, you're kind of covering all bases, right?
Exactly, I'm covering all bases. I have to know everything. I have to know everything, so that if I open it and I hire someone, I know a little bit about what they're talking about, just so that I can say, okay, you know what? Like HR, for example, like, I'd consider myself now a HR specialist, because this is onboarding process, recruitment, all of these disciplinaries, everything like that. I know inside and out what to do. Like, I've been in contact with ACAS, maybe, like, and as well as doing a couple courses as well on the side, like, over the last couple of years. So you do learn over time these little bits and pieces, and you just start adding them to your repertoire. You know what I mean? Like, your repertoire of skills.
And what you've done so far, like in the healthcare management,
yeah,
is that where becoming a consultant came from, or did that happen separately in parallel? How did that happen?
So that's actually very interesting. So it's funny. I learned a long time ago, 9 to 5 is not going to be the one to free me from the rat race per se.
Yeah.
So I needed a way out. I needed a way out, and someone said start a business, and then I said, all right, well, business is trade of value. What do I have of value which I can give to people? Knowledge.
And I think
that's what I've got.
Before you continue, man, because I want to hear more about this. I think something anybody watching this can take away is, it doesn't have to be like this crazy thing, guys. Sometimes it's just like, what can I bring to the table, and what would someone pay for, right?
That's it. Like, value. Like, you know what I mean? I always say that simple phrase, value. Like, you know what I mean? That's it. Yeah. That's simple as that. What can I bring, or, that I can sell or monetize, which people will pay for? And it's information, knowledge. Yes. My expertise in a certain subject. For example, you want to get from A to B, and I'll give you an example of this. Let's say you have right now you've got a polio campaign going on. Like, polio, it's a thing now. They found some traces of polio in I think it's East London, in the sewers, and they're trying to vaccinate. There's a campaign going on. They're trying to vaccinate the whole of basically the whole population, the whole population of children age 1 to 9. That's the campaign. Now, where you would bring me in is to say, look, we have 6 doctors, 3 nurses, HCA. They run clinics Monday to Friday, etc., etc. We've got children 1 to 9. We're already doing everything already. We've got money. This is our budget. This is the extra clinics we can do. How are we going to run this? What's the campaign going to look like? How are we going to start? And I would come in, sit down, right? Let's look at this. What's your outcome? Are you trying to vaccinate 80% of your population, 90%, 100%? So you start to break it down to the point where it's like, okay, how are we going to reach these individuals? Can we text them, letters, call? Do we have a recall team? Like, I factor everything into the equation in order to get your outcome, which is 100% invites of the children. Then also you need to see, okay, look, are they going to come here, or is there somewhere else where they can go? Like a vaccination center closer
So
to
there's
their
not
home.
a bottleneck, right?
Exactly. So it's not a bottleneck. We can only offer 100 appointments a week, for example. There are 400 kids to vaccinate in, let's say, a month. So yeah, it's coming up with those. What are the barriers? How do we overcome them? Where are the avenues? What support do we have? Is it going to cost us a lot?
So you do that if someone comes to you, you do like the day job, let's call it, which is like healthcare management. But then on the side of it, if someone comes to you with like a specific requirement,
or a specific contract where they're like, look, I want you to help with, let's say, onboarding of new clinicians in my practice. Like, whenever they come, I want you to do the recruitment drive. I want you to do the interview process. I want you to do the full, writing out the letter of acceptance, the decline letters. I want you to do the onboarding where, you ask for people like DBS check, CVs, all of that stuff. I want you to do basically the whole HR side. Yep. They don't want to do that, but it's messy. It's long. It's also a long process. So they would say, oh, can you take care of that for me? And we'll pay you like $1,000 per recruit, for example, for the time that you do. So you come up with, you can come up. Yeah, it can be quite lucrative it's how you choose to market yourself. What can you do for them where they, again, something less they have to do.
Yeah, because in the IT world, so for anyone that doesn't know, I have a background in IT as well as doing the coaching thing. Yeah. And there's kind of two main ways they price it. One is T&M, which is time and materials. Yep. And that's where you just say like, okay, we're going to have a consultant in, this is his day rate. And for as long as we need him, as many days as he is needed, that will be what we pay him, right?
Yep.
Versus you do fixed price. So fixed price is like, I need this product built or this problem solved. And then I would go away and say, well, I think I can get it done by this time, but it's going to cost you X. And then you can pay that in installments.
Got it.
Kind of pros and cons to each one. But from what you're saying, I'm getting a similar thing where it's like, it depends on how you want to monetize it, right?
So my thing is, I'd rather hold on to a contract per year, because then it's at least, it's kind of, as long as I deliver, a bit scary. As long as I deliver the product or deliver the end goal, it doesn't really matter. So I would say to them, look, I'm going to be working with you for 12 months. I'm going to charge you 15,000, 20,000 for the year. And I'm going to work maybe 7-8 hours a week, something like that. Do you know what I mean? So it's based on that. That's how I sit down and I do it. And every time I add a level to my knowledge, expertise, I end up, you charge more, because you just increase in value as you go. So you can end up charging more. You end up charging more because you can do more. And they also can see that as well from your portfolio. So you come along saying, look, last year I managed XYZ and this was the result. Now going into the next year, I'm going to charge you this much.
And just to add to this as well, when we, because obviously we met up recently to catch up on that.
Yeah.
And one thing I think the audience would find interesting is am I right in saying in either one, either the consultancy or the healthcare management, someone came to you, right, and was like, "Oh, you've got quite a good CV. Would you write mine?"
Something. Yeah. So those things
I wanted
happen.
To bring that up because it's just another example where it might not be the thing that you're doing, guys. It might be part of the thing that you're doing. You might not even think about that could be monetized. And
exactly.
I think a lot of guys, or just a lot of people in general, fall victim to, I'm not good enough. Like, I'm not good enough to charge for something like this. When if you're like, let's say 3 years into a profession, this is what I believe anyway. If you're like 3 years into a profession and someone's just graduating, you could probably help them model their CV. And if you could help them do that and you do it well, then maybe you could charge people for that, a reasonable fee. And that's another thing you could do on the side, right? Multiple streams of income. People talk about this all the time, but it's another example, isn't it?
It's very interesting.
You can bring to the market.
100%. And usually, you know what? It's funny because even with the gym stuff, like, as you know, my Insta, bro, I post my videos like pretty much day in, day out. They're there without fail, usually. And you'd be surprised how many messages you get asking you to create a plan. or can you give me some advice, or can you do this for me, or do that? And then in your mind now you're thinking, wait, people watch this stuff, they take it in, and then they're asking you questions, and you think, is that a possible way? Like, can I dedicate a little bit of my time to doing that? And how can I do it in a way where I know I'm giving them the right information? Because my situation I might be responding to the training, like, sure, like on a balance of average, bodies are the same, sure, right? But you've got the anatomy, male, female, how you got different training cycles, all of these kind of things. Exactly. Yeah. So it's like, how can I make sure that any information I'm putting out there is going to benefit either the masses, or if I go specific, how can I make sure that I tell this person or direct this person in the right way? So it's your responsibility, if you're going to monetize and you're going to, take somebody's money for exchange of value or service, you've got to do your you've got to make sure you actually know your stuff, and you've got to kind of make sure that on their side that it's safe as well. So that's been my thing. Yeah, that's been my thing. I've been approached a lot of times on Insta just about, can you build me a plan, this and that, and I'm like, I can do the basic plan, that's not a problem. I can tell you your BMR, I can tell you how much calories you burn in a day and all of this stuff, and I can say to you, look, if you want to lose weight, like with your current weight and your current activity, you're going to need to do XYZ. I'm not going to build your nutrition plan, that's a specialist. I'm not going to build your actual workout plan, again, that's a specialist. But at least I can say to you, I can I can throw you in the right trajectory, because I've done it myself many times. Like, start, stop. But now I'm more consistent. Now I'm just consistent. It's been maybe 10, 12 years that I've been doing this. So
yeah, I think
it's just about consistency.
There's a massive thing to that as well, where it's like people, success leaves clues, right? So if people see you're doing something, and this is something I didn't think about enough when I first started doing the coaching thing.
Yeah,
I just wanted to get to helping people directly, rather than just putting information out there, or even just sharing what I'm doing. Because of a good way to get started in anything, I think, is just sharing your journey.
Yeah, and attention.
Yeah, exactly. And someone you might not even do that with the intention to monetize it, but someone might come along and go, would you do this thing? Could you help me with this? And you naturally fall into it. I think there's nothing wrong with the average 9 to 5. Nope. But why would you not explore other avenues if they're there? I think a lot of people have a lot to bring to the table they don't realize,
100%. And like you said, it's tied into I think it's a case of the classic imposter syndrome, which everyone goes through. I think everybody goes through that. Definitely. Like I when I became a manager in the very beginning, I was there like, yo, I have no clue what I'm doing at all. I don't have to lead X. Like, I don't even know how I got the job. They've told me 3 years later that we got the job because we just liked you as an individual. And I was like, what the hell? Like, but they said to us, look, we had no doubt though that you could do the job, or you could at least learn the role quickly to the point where you'd actually become competent. Now, that says a lot about what it actually takes in order for you to be hired by companies or big corporations. Like, they generally don't care about your CV, like, in the sense that the CV will get you through the door, but the reason why they hire you is you as an individual, your character. If you're nervous, you're not being your true self, right? You're being held back by something. They're going to see that, and then they're going to be like, oh, I don't think something is a bit off about this guy or this girl. I don't think I want to hire them. So it's a case of getting through that, kind of fighting through that, knowing that, look, I've got to show my true character as best as that I can. Of course, you're going to be nervous, but whatever techniques you use in order to calm yourself down or put you in a Zen state before you go in there, those are really going to help you shine to your employer. And also, there are habits which also help you. I always say to people, weightlifting, gym, all these healthy habits transition and translate into other parts of your life. For example, definitely when you go gym, bro, you already know this. Hormones are released, make you feel more happy. You're way more confident. People can pick up on this, and the amount of times people have said
improves your testosterone, like
100%,
which improves everything in your life.
Everything in your life, like,
I think this is such a key point, because I want to come back to the piece around like just interviews in general and getting jobs, but just working out. something. So we brought on quite a few new guys recently,
Yeah.
and one of the guys shared something on our group. We do like weekly group calls, and he was like,
Yeah.
"It's so good to know, just see your numbers and know, like, okay, how am I going to push myself this week?" And he
Yeah.
was talking about it with his missus, and then she
Yeah.
was like, "I didn't even think about that," and it seems.
Mm.
It seems so obvious to us because
Yeah.
we think about pushing ourselves all the time because that's something we love about the gym. But I think a lot of people just think, okay, I'd like to look better, I'd like to feel better, but I'm not that bothered. But there's all this other stuff underneath that
Yep.
which can help you do all the other things in your life, right? Like
100%.
if you carry yourself with more confidence and you do care about your social life, it will probably impact your social life in a positive way rather
100%.
than, do you see what I mean? And people think it's going to take away from that. So
Yeah.
I think it's, I always tell people like, I only like working with guys who have a deeper why, like
Yeah.
other than the surface level stuff.
To find your way. I love
Yeah,
that.
find your
Yeah,
why
yeah, yeah.
because
Find your way. It's
there's going to
important.
be, yeah, it's important because there's going to be times where you're just like, I don't want to wake up at 6, 7 a.m., bro. I don't want to go before work. So what's actually going to get you out of bed in the morning is knowing your deeper why. And
Yeah.
I think that's what's really going to end up driving you rather than just, yeah, it's going
Yeah.
to be nice to look good for the holiday and that. But
Yeah. Can I ask you a question as well then?
go for it.
What's your why? Why does Dan the coach coach? What led to you becoming?
What led me to coaching?
Yeah, what led you to coaching? Because I know you said you had an IT background, and I'm guessing you're still doing it on the site potentially.
Yeah.
So why have you decided to become a coach?
So
Yeah.
I'll dial it back like you did, bro. So
Yeah. Back to 1995.
yeah, back to 995 exactly.
Yeah.
No, a little bit further on than that. So
Yeah.
I'd say about 2019,
Yeah.
I'd got to a certain level in IT
Yeah.
much quicker than I anticipated, right?
Got it. Right.
And not to say this in a bragging way, it's more of a way of, this is just a slight side point for everyone. You're capable of so much more than you give yourself credit for. I truly believe that in a lot of ways. And so getting back to the point, got to a certain level, and then I booked this holiday to go traveling on my own. The first part of it was on my own.
Yeah.
And it sounds so cliche, right? But I was in the airport, delayed. Spirit Airlines. Anybody American watching this, like loads of people who are American are like, don't travel with Spirit Airlines, bro. You'll be delayed. And obviously, I was delayed. So I'm in I think it was Atlanta airport, waiting for the flight, and I'm thinking, bro, like I could do what I'm doing for the rest of my life, live comfortably.
Yep.
And that'd be great, right? And much more comfortably than even my parents did. And we lived a comfortable life, you know. We didn't have everything, but we didn't struggle per se.
Yep.
Anyway, I was like, but would I want to do that though? Or would I want to do just that? And I'd always been into fitness. I'd always liked the gym. I'd liked martial arts from a young age, all of this stuff. And I'd even, you know how it goes, like you train with friends, you end up going to the gym, you get gym partners.
Yeah.
And you end up helping them, and you like seeing that progression. You're like, oh man, look at, I have one friend in particular. He used to carry a lot more body fat. He's in good shape now. He's into his boxing, and he's just a different guy. Like he was already a confident guy, but you can just tell it's made a difference for him. Anyway.
Yep.
So I'm at the airport and I'm thinking about this, and I go to myself, I don't think I could really live with myself, honestly, or I wouldn't want to get to the end of my life and think, did I do everything that I had interest in, or did I explore all avenues, right? And it's kind of going back to what you said about security as well. It's the imposter syndrome, but it's also about like, I'm so secure and comfortable now. Do I want to risk that, right? So, but once I've got something, like something about me is once I've got it in my mind, I have to do something about it, at least to see where it will go. So the week I got back from that holiday, I looked into becoming a qualified PT. I thought, if I'm actually going to do this, I want to do it right.
Yeah.
I kind of dabbled a little bit here and there for a few years and slowly got qualified, still was training with my friends and stuff.
Yeah.
And then 2020 hit. Obviously, everything crazy that happened over the last few years, which we don't have to get too far into, but all of that craziness hit, and I'm one of these guys where I can't, like playing the odd video game and chilling out and that, but I like being busy, man. I like I like going to bed at night and knowing, okay, I've moved forward in some way. be it gym. And I think that
Yep.
comes from the gym, right? You get kind of addicted to moving forward.
Yeah. Stagnant. You don't like it.
Yeah, exactly. If you're not moving
Yeah.
forward, you're stagnating, you're regressing, right? So
100%. Yeah, you can
to
only
answer
regress.
yeah, exactly. So to answer
Yeah.
your question, it kind of
Mm.
it organically happened, but then I made certain decisions along the way where I'm like, okay, I have to pursue this. So 2020,
Yeah.
so from 2019, I made the decision to once 2020 hit, I was like, okay, let's actually take this seriously now. Message some friends, just people close to me that I knew were somewhat into fitness or had some goals that they were struggling with. And like you said, man, it was like, I've got these skills.
Mhm.
Go to the people I know and ask
Yep.
them, what do you need? Go away, create some kind of program or service to fit that need, and just kind of learn on the job. I think a lot of people, they wait to have all their ducks in a row before launching something. They don't even know if
Ooh.
they've got a market for it, right?
Yep.
Because if no one's going
That's
to pay
it.
you, if no one's going to pay you for it, you're just kind of messing around. You're wasting time. I think
It's a hobby. It's a hobby.
yeah, it's a hobby.
Yeah. It's a hobby.
Exactly. It's a hobby. So yeah, got into that and I realized money was a key driver for me in tech. I did and do still like tech, but money was a key driver for me. I'm not ashamed to say that. It still is.
Yeah.
But there's a big difference, I think, between like helping a company is great. But I suppose what you get from what you do is you help the company, but you also help the people, right? Because you improve the KPIs, you improve the quality of service.
The quality of service increases as well. Exactly. Like no one misses out. Like no children, like for example, I'll take the polio campaign. No children are going to miss out on the vaccination through a fault of the GP, like, or through a fault of us neglecting our duty to reach out and at least tell you, look, we're offering the vaccine at our practice. Come to us if you can't get to any vaccination centers, So yeah, it's a case of just, obligation as well. So yeah,
exactly.
I get where you're coming from.
Yeah. So it is a similar thing where I was like, I need a bit of both in my life. Like, money is still a driver for me. It's important for me, mostly because of freedom. We can come back to that, but I wanted to feel like I was actually making a difference. And another thing I realized, and this has really come back through in my mind since focusing mostly on helping guys, which we've shifted to in the last 3 to 6 months, I would say.
Yeah,
because we've always helped both genders, but we were helping mums lose weight for a long time.
When you say we, who's we?
So I work. It's mostly me, but I work with like some mentors. So I always kind of say we because they're kind of helping me in the background create it into being something bigger than it is, right? So
right.
But I really should just say I. But it's kind of a vision for the future as well. They always say to me like, speak in a way where you're already where you want to be. If that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, we always helped. We helped mostly mums lose weight in 2020, 2021, and then I would say this back end of last year, I started thinking about this is great. I'm doing a good job, but I'm obviously not a mum. I'm a guy. I know that seems so glaringly obvious, but one of my old mentors said to me, why don't explore this niche? I think you might be quite good at it. And I was good at it for a while. We still work with some of that niche, and I'm still open to working with those with mums. But the main focus now is to help guys basically where I was 3 to 5 years ago. And the point I was going to make is when I was in IT as well, one thing I always enjoyed was helping someone who was just a bit further back on the journey I was on, right? So it may have been like, I don't know, it's a developer, a technical guy who's super smart, but he's not very good with people. So helping him being like, bro, if you don't tell anyone, I know it seems like a bragging thing. If you don't tell anyone how smart you are, you're going to be undervalued, underpaid, and people aren't going to be able to use your full skill set. So they're going to lose out. You're going to lose out. And I always enjoyed helping people upskill. So it was kind of many different moving parts that have led me to where I am now, where we're helping guys. We've just signed up our 6th guy this week. Of our most recent program, and it just feels like what I'm meant to do, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. You've naturally gravitated towards it. And like I
Yeah.
said, it's weird. It's very strange. Like I always say this, like at school, if you know, like a little bit, just again for your viewers as well, bit of background. Like we went to the same school. Now in that school, we only knew each other through IT, isn't it? That's the only interaction we
IT
ever had.
business. Yeah,
IT and business. That's the only interaction we ever had. And again, we're two different people. You know, I would consider myself at that point. I was still trying to come out of my shell. Like I was, you know, Mr. Sociable per se. And yeah, I always viewed you in the like, from my head anyway, I always viewed you as in the sense of, dude, quiet guy, but he's super chill. He knows, like, but he's a smart dude, like, you know, knows how to get the work done. I didn't see anything in terms of this guy's always getting called out for not doing his homework or whatnot. But yeah, it's weird. It's a very strange one. Like, you know, when we had to do our little mini projects for IT, and you could kind of see in the class, you were kind of top of the class with me, and there was another guy as well.
I think
De
it was
Freitas. Jose? Do you remember Jose? Jose De Freitas?
No, I don't.
Oh, there was a guy. He was never in our lesson, but he was like always. This guy was always out of school, but yeah,
Okay.
he was super smart.
Yeah, okay, I got you.
Yeah, he was super smart. Like he was always top. He was always top. Top of the. Yeah, he was always in the top like 5. So yeah, I always saw your name like as well, and it's just, you know, you could see like the people who were like really into the IT and stuff. So yeah, I always look back and remember. I was like, yeah, I remember Danny. He was a smart dude, like, you know. But we just weren't in the same group or the same crowd.
Yeah, exactly.
And now, 10 years later, this guy's just showed up on my feed. we've reconnected through a mutual friend, and now this guy's on my feed every day, posting some, you know, motivational quotes, saying how he's going to help, you know, a certain demographic of individuals become a better version of themselves. And in my eyes, I'm like, this is what my kind of Insta's all about, like spreading positivity in any way, shape, or form. Just because today it might not suit you, or it might not be for you, maybe next week or the week after, you're gonna watch one of my stories and be like, you know what, I want to make a change, and this guy's been doing it for years. So, what's to stop me from doing the same thing? If I can do it, you can too. Like,
yeah,
you're
planting seeds all the time without realizing, right?
As exactly.
The following grows.
Yeah,
and the people will pop up like they've been following you for years, and you're like,
trust me, mate.
Forgot you existed, not in a bad way.
That's it.
I remember that we spoke years ago, right? There's guys I speak to now. Like I spoke with someone this week like this. Spoke to him during the lockdown. He's I think he's like only 16 or something, right? He comes through Facebook. He has a similar ribcage deformity to I do, so that's how we
got it. So you guys,
we connected through one of the groups on Facebook, and he has said, like, I saw on one of your posts, what should I do for training, blah blah blah. And fast forward a few years, he's now becoming a qualified PT. He's been like consistent with the gym, smashing it.
There you go.
And it's amazing to see, you know.
Man, it just puts a smile on my face, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, my thing is, I said, like, in my mind, how I go through the day or go through life in general is, you see, people are watchers, right? Everyone watches your story. Now, in my mind, I'm like, if even one person takes action that day or will take action in the future, my job is done. Like, you know, butterfly effect kind of, like, you know, one person takes action and they decide to change their lives for the better, and see like the ripple goes on and on and on. And it started from seeing your story. Whereas if you hadn't have posted, you know, put out that positivity when you wanted to, then obviously nothing would have changed, nothing would have happened, etc. So for me, it's just a case of, I do this for me, yes, to keep myself accountable as well. Because obviously, if I don't post, it means I've not gone to the gym, have I? So that's what it has become. Like, people are sometimes in my DMs like, you didn't post anything today, you didn't go to the gym, did you? And I'm like, oh no, I didn't go today. Like, it's the rest day, isn't it? Like, I got some days off, so it's okay. But most of the time, there is always a story there in the gym saying this, that, and the rather. And sometimes I'll tell, like, I'm actually heading to your format where it's like, you know, you film yourself saying something or giving like a little tip here and there, how to be better or avoid certain things which the common goer,
problems,
you know, encounters. So I might, for me, I'm like, I'm getting back into that. I used to do that a lot back in the day, and it used to be quite fun. It was actually quite fun videoing yourself on the way to work or whatever, like finding time in between like the busy life, isn't it? Like, you know, that 15-20 minute commute, which I used to do. I could easily record a couple of videos about, look, this is how I started, this is where I'm going, and this is where I hope to be. And yeah, I've enjoyed the full journey per se. But yeah.
That brings me on to my the next thing I wanted to ask you about. Why calisthenics? We talked about this last week, but
Yeah.
you said something quite interesting, and I'll let you kind of break it down. But you talked about when you're at uni, like you did the whole, I'll do bench press, I'll do like the main movements, the kind of the normal thing that most guys do, and then you got into it, and you
Yeah.
said something like, I don't want to butcher it, but you said something like at a certain point,
Yeah.
you do have to enjoy it at least a little bit.
You
You have to,
do, man.
yeah,
You got a lot. Like if that look like this is something which is going to be I mean, for us anyway, where we've started young, this is going to be part of your life forever. Like I'm going to continue to do this for the rest of my life,
yeah,
knowing that the benefits far outweigh the negative or the drawbacks, right? So my thing is that I've got to not got to enjoy what I'm doing, but I've got to find at least a little bit of it fun.
yes.
And what I found with regular weightlifting is that, yeah, I can bench press this, I can dumbbell press this, I can, bicep curl this and that. But I was like, this is just not fun for me. It's not a skill. I'm not learning anything. Whereas calisthenics is always teaching you something about your body. Like me, I could never do an L sit. Like it's weird with these things. It teaches you about life very quickly. You go from not being able to do something to do something. If you do not continue to work on the skill, you lose it. That's how it goes. So
Yes.
with an L sit, for example, now I can do an L sit on the rings, but I cannot do an L sit on the floor like how I used to be able to do it
You
during
mean
lockdown.
like where you push your hands on the floor?
Yeah, so
you
literally put your hands by your sides and you just kind of.
It's harder than you think, man.
Bro. But you train for it. This is the thing. You train for the skill and you attain it eventually, and then you take it off your box and then you stop training for it and you lose the skill. So it's like you build the strength and then lose it. And I was doing this during lockdown as well. So it was one of those where it was one of the only ways to really kind of stay in shape as well.
Yeah.
But I actually fell in love with the gymnast rings because I saw literally the potential. Like you've seen gymnasts, right? Dude, they're jacked AF. Like, their arms are fucking massive. Their bodies just look like a model or look like a physique, which I was like, oh, I kind of want to emulate that. That's not a bad physique. They're not
and
too
they've got
big.
skills as well.
They're not too big, too small, and also they specialize in a niche. Like I don't think they have legs though. That's the only problem. So I did see the issue with that. I was like, yo, but thankfully for me, genetics helped me out with legs.
There is a reason for that though, because I remember what's that guy called? He's
because heavy, man. Your legs are heavy.
Exactly.
They're the heaviest part of your body, man. Literally, imagine.
Can't be doing L sits if you can squat like,
bro. Trust me,
3-4 plates or something. It's going to be hard.
Exactly, it's harder, but it's even more impressive if you do manage to do it. So
true.
I was on this weightlifting machine, not weightlifting machine, sorry. I was on this like scale, and it tells you your body composition, and it tells you how much of your body parts weigh. Now, I don't know what the average weight of a leg is, but I know mine weigh 12 to 13 kilos each. So now just imagine, get your arms, hold 12 to 13 kilos in that position and just hold it out. How long can you hold that weight out? Not very long time. So the stronger your abdominal, you train your abdominal region, you train your core, like full back and everything, and then you eventually lose weight in your legs too. So obviously with all the weight lost, you now become more efficient as a unit. Like you as a unit, like calisthenics is all about efficiency and mastering your body. Now, there are big guys, like there are dudes over 100 kilos doing calisthenics. Now, is that efficient? I would say no, but they are strong AF, as in they're literally the body, the strength to weight ratio is insane with calisthenics. And even on the scientific, breaking it down to the scientific level, when you do weightlifting, right, your muscle fills with liquid. I can't remember what it was called now. It's like, no, it's like myosin. It's some form of liquid. It goes into your muscle. Like takes up the space. So that's why you look kind of bulgy when you do weightlifting, right? Like the fibers are broken down in a different way when you.
Are you talking about like the buildup of lactic acid when you get that burn?
So No. So what I'm talking about is how your muscles develop under calisthenics versus how your muscles develop when you do weightlifting. So with weightlifting, apparently your muscles are filled with more water or more liquid than if you do calisthenics. That's why calisthenics individuals look more lean, but they're usually stronger than the, like, pound for pound, muscle for muscle. They're usually stronger than your body weight, than your bodybuilder. So, for example, and it's to do with the myosin fibers. Apparently, when you do calisthenics, they rip a lot more, meaning that their tensile strength like increase when it rebuilds the fibers. They're built a lot thicker.
Do you think a part of that? Because if I think about this a lot, like, do you think a big part of that is one, the difference in core strength? Because a lot of the calisthenics exercises involve your core just as a byproduct, right? Any kind of push up, you have to stabilize. Any kind of rings, you have to stabilize
The muscles in the shoulder, bro.
Yes.
No one has those.
Exactly.
By default. By default, no one has them.
By default, no one has them, and you have to. That's involved, and then also stretch. Because I've been reading a lot of studies recently on stretch mediated hypertrophy, which is
your muscles
at full muscle length. Because so many people are like, keep the tension in the muscle, bro, but they cut the range of motion so short. Whereas if you can do like a full open, like the iron cross, right?
Bro, the strength required there is insane.
And that's full length of your pec. And a lot of people, if they try and do that without training, like you said, without the specific training, they'll get a pec tear. Because their pec has never been there. And there's some coaches I work with, actually. So for the audience watching, Renaissance Periodization, I actually work with these coaches, and part of their
seen them on Insta.
Yeah, I'm part of their Team Full ROM Facebook group. It's well worth it if you're kind of more advanced in your lifting journey. But to get back to the point, they analyzed, there was that famous pec tear where it was like a beast of a guy. He was in Dubai. I think he was working out of Larry Wheels, I think his name is.
Larry Wheels, man, like, yeah.
And he was doing an incline press with like 4 or 5 plates on, like, serious weight.
But
he got to a certain point and his full pec tore off the bone. And one of the coaches in the group I'm a part of, was analyzing it, and he was saying one of the biggest reasons that this often happens is, it's 2 things. Obviously, it's the weight, but another thing is, if you don't train full range of motion, and then you get to a certain weight, like you pack on weight on the bar, or you're doing calisthenics, I suppose, like iron cross, you're doing a certain, you're putting your joint in a certain position where it's not used to being in that position, one, and it's got a lot of force in the position it's not used to. It will do one of 2 things. It will either stop working. That's where you try and push up the bench, and then it just like slams on you.
It just comes back.
It just comes back. Or your muscle just literally, it will just tear, right? And so that's what he was saying, is if you train full range of motion as well, it's injury preventing. So like,
yes, 100%.
If you're doing, like, I guess an example for iron cross would be if you're doing ring flies. You're building all the way up, and then you do like weighted ring flies or something like that. When you get to do iron cross, your body's going to be used to being in that extreme position.
That's it.
And people do, I think a lot of, obviously it's a lot for the beginner gym goer, but I just posted a video today about like 5 workout mistakes the beginner makes. And I think one of them is loading up the weight or doing something they're not skilled to do. Before, like, I guess an equivalent for calisthenics would be like, why are you trying to do muscle ups, bro, if you can't even do good pull-ups? You know
your pull-up game weak, and you're trying to do muscle ups. If you cannot do 12 to 15, I'd say straight bar, like, just actually, you know what? With muscle up, muscle up. I'm gonna break it down even more. Like, it's more to do with how much power you can generate per pull. It's not even to do with how many pull-ups you can do. You can do one muscle up. If you've got the strength to if you can generate enough force, pulling power to bring the bar to your chest height, you can do a muscle up. And if you can do a dip as well, you can do a muscle up. You're fine. So it's a case of if you cannot, it's a case of training. You need to train specifically for these movements.
Yes.
And then other than that, it's like you said, it's having the prerequisites before. But it's now if you're if you're creating it, if you were to create a plan for someone, you'd say, look, you've got to be able to do like at least 6 explosive pull-ups where you can bring at least the bar to your stomach height. Like, you know what I mean? If you can do that, then you move to the next step, which is if you can do dips on the bar, like, 5-6 sets of 5 to 8 good straight bar dips or rings is fine. And then after that, you work on the transition. Now the transition is like the part where most people flop. Like
that was the bit, man.
Like,
for me,
even me, transition, man.
The transition.
Like literally, I'm still trying to get the transition down. So for me, it's like, how do I get that bit? Like, how do I practice that bit? And it's doing the muscle up negative. That's how you do it. So you go on top of the bar and you bring yourself down real slow, and you just get used to pulling yourself down slowly for that full muscle control, like, and building that in is what builds up the strength over time in order for you to do the muscle up. So when I get my first one, I'm 100% posting on my story without that.
Yeah, man. I look forward to seeing it because it's a big milestone. I think again, for beginners watching this, just keep this in mind. Like, I think it's a big thing for guys, like, because I've seen it from training women and guys. One thing I'll say about training women is they don't have as much of an ego on average. So if you tell them, like, go do a back squat, they are afraid to lift too much. Whereas as a guy, it's like, oh, that guy's my size. I'm going to just pack up what he was doing. Or like, oh, I'll share the squat rack with you, bro. Don't take the weights off. But little do you know, there might be some calisthenics beast who isn't that big, but is super strong.
That's what I'm saying. The weight to the strength to weight ratio is going to be insane.
Exactly. And your ego is just like, right, I'm going to go try and match him on this. Yeah. And it can be good from a competitive, like, okay, you can push each other. Yeah. But I think a lot of guys end up hurting themselves. Like,
injury, man.
Injury. A lot of guys that are like, I injured myself deadlifting or doing calisthenics or doing something like that. And I'm like, you just clearly just push yourself too far, too quick,
Yeah, but it's knowing that limit though. Now your limit is 200 kilos. Like for me, deadlift. If I use it like this, yes, the injury is what you want to avoid, 100%. You're gonna build yourself up to that level.
But you need to push yourself.
But you kind of need. So it's like, but you kind of need to push yourself there, not to the point where you're breaking your back or you're slipping discs and stuff. That's crazy weight. But what I'm saying is that practice your form first, get that down. Once your form is correct, then start adding on the weight slowly but surely. Nothing is stopping you from adding 5 kilos each session. Nothing is stopping you from doing that progressive overload, right? But as long as your form is correct, like the one thing that can't go is your form, for example. Like,
this is such
you've got to have a non-negotiable. Like, what can give way? Like the one thing that can't give way is your form. When you start doing sloppy form, then you need to drop the weight.
I'm so glad you said that, man, because that's And another thing I've realized, because I think we all do this, not just like the quality of the way the movement looks, but like the speed and the cadence.
Slow it down.
Yeah, slow it down, because
have a 1-2, like, have a tempo in your head.
You can count a tempo if it works for you, or even just keeping control.
Yeah.
One thing I've realized is, as the movement gets more difficult, your body wants to go.
You try to rush through that. You try to rush through that movement. Yeah, 100%.
And I always say to, like, and it's a big light bulb moment for a lot of our clients, because what they'll say to me is, bro, I thought failure was like you just like barely trying to lift yourself up doing a push-up. I'm like, no, if you can do 10 push-ups with strict form, the last few will slow down. They should look really difficult and you might push yourself, but you shouldn't be flicking your elbows out and doing all this madness, because you're going to be looking crazy. You might hurt yourself.
That muscle up with the elbow, one elbow at a time.
Yeah, exactly. One elbow at a time.
Start chicken flapping. Yeah.
But no, form is key, man.
Yeah. No, I mean, all right. So like you were saying, 5 mistakes to avoid, right? But what would be your?
I'll go through.
What would be? I was gonna say. Could you? Yeah. Do you mind sharing them with me? Like,
let me see if I can remember them, because I don't.
What you came up with? But no, that's all right. That's all right. Off the top of your head.
These are the things I came up with. So the first thing was, beginners usually don't have a plan, right?
Right.
They go in there,
no plan. Like, failure to plan. Wait, was it plan to fail? Failure to plan. Fail. Exactly. That's the one.
Yeah, exactly, man. And I might have to make that the caption, I guess.
Failure to plan is basically planning to fail.
But an example of it, because it seems so obvious, but just to give people an example, if you're watching this, right? If you want to lose a bit of fat and build muscle, if you're a beginner, you can really, really do that. When you get a bit more advanced, as you know yourself, bro, it gets a bit harder. You usually have to pick one or the other. You have to pick to bulk up or pick to lose some fat. But if you're a beginner, or even if you haven't been training optimally, you can lose fat and build a good amount of muscle. You can do both at the same time. So
Yeah, indeed.
and a lot of the guys we work with are kind of in that space. They're in that kind of beginner, or they've been training for a while but not training optimally, right? So having that plan, like a lot of them, they'll go into a gym and they'll be like, I don't know how to use this, I don't know how to use that. I'll go on the treadmill, because everyone knows how to walk and run, obviously, right?
Cardio.
Go to cardio, or they'll do some HIIT workout they see on YouTube. And I'm always like, if your goal is to lose fat and build muscle, that is not going to be the best thing for your goal. So get a plan, base it around, and I break this down, base it around your obviously your goals, your fitness level, your schedule, right? A lot of guys, they think you have to be in the gym like every day, and you don't, guys. And
only when you love it, you get to the go in the gym.
Exactly. Only when you love it. But and the last thing is the equipment you have available, right? I know some guys that be trying to do some plan, and they even haven't got the weight available, so that the exercise isn't effective enough, or they can't do pull-ups yet. So do you know what I mean? Or
alternative. There's not enough. They don't know the alternatives.
They need the relevant alternatives for their fitness level. So that was 100%. The first one. So have a plan. The second one was they don't track. So it kind of ties back into the first one is. Oh no. Sorry, that's the third one. The second one is they change stuff too often, so they don't have a plan. But
I used to do this.
Yeah, mate.
I was a sucker for this back in the day. Yes. When you first start out, you're like bicep curls every day. Okay, cool. You get bored of it. Bench press. All right, yeah. Then you get bored of it. You don't even do like the pyramid. You don't even do the pyramid. Nothing. You don't do pyramidization. Nothing. Like that. You don't know anything. You're just there in the gym, like, okay, today's back and chest.
I'm just going to do what feels good.
You don't even do the same workout as last week. But I remember at Oratory, bro, I must have done every session pec deck. Every session there was pec deck involved, bro. My pecs were.
I remember that's the machine they had at school.
This machine, bro, my chest was unproportionally big to the rest of my body from doing pec deck on its own. But I learned a lesson. If you stick to something, you will get better, and you will get better. You will progress. And I was like, damn, if I gave the same dedication to pec deck that I gave to everything else, I would be looking like a unit right now. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it was insane. So that's that. I 100% agree with you on that one. The swapping plans, at least give it 12 weeks, man. Come on. Take 12 weeks minimum.
I think, do you know what, man? I would even agree with you. I said the bare minimum, 4 to 8 at the very minimum. But I would actually agree with you there that, especially when you're just starting out, you probably 100%. Want to give it a bit longer. And
3 to 6 months.
One thing I used to realize is I'd go gym, right?
Yeah.
You're like, oh, that was a sick workout. Got a pump going. Look in the mirror. All of this. Every guy does it, right? And you
100%. Got to flex.
Yeah, exactly, right. So I used to get the bus to this gym when I lived at home.
Yeah.
And on the bus back, I'd be watching like things like Hodge twins or different people.
You can do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah, exactly. Or I'd be watching just anything, right? I'd be like, oh, look at this cool push-up they're doing, this archer push-up, right? And I'd be like, maybe that's the thing that's going to get me the chest gains. And what I would not realize is the thing that gives you the gains is sticking at it for the bare minimum 4 to 8 weeks, more like 12, maybe even longer than that. And you just increase which brings me on to my third point, which gym goers, the mistake they make is they don't track. Right, and if you don't track, how are you gonna really know exactly what gets measured gets managed? So how you, once you have a plan, you're not changing the plan. You want to track it so that you can ensure you're moving forward by weight, reps, and/or sets. Right. So, and if you just do that, even if you're not eating. Like you're eating so inconsistently. If you just haven't been training at all, you are gonna get some gains from just doing that, guys. Like
100%. You're gonna get muscle regardless. 100%. If you haven't got muscle in the beginning and you're not even doing diet, but you're eating, let's say you're eating recklessly, right? You're probably getting in more protein than when you weren't training. So you are gonna build some form of muscle. Yeah. Now, in order to optimize and make it efficient, you're going to need to start tracking the amount of protein you need for the type of body you have, how much, like, what's your lean body mass. You're going to need to calculate all of this stuff.
Yeah,
that's where I'm like, getting a coach really helps, because that streamlines that stuff for you. They take that burden off you and tell you, just do this, eat this at this time, do this, sleep 5-6 hours, you know what I mean, or whatever, more
exactly,
than 5-6
man.
hours.
On that note, quickly for the audience, we do run a free challenge, and the link in my bio on YouTube is for my link tree. The first link on my link tree for our free challenge, we go through your suggested calories, suggested macros, things like that. So, or suggested protein and calories at least, as well as talking about training and consistency. So guys, if you want to get kickstart and actually learn this stuff and kickstart your journey for free, you can go there. But that brings me on to the point I made earlier, bro. The fourth mistake was they sacrifice form for weight. And I think it's a big thing that guys do, because they
ego lifting.
They train their ego rather than their muscles. So
I think you know what? I'm not even gonna lie to you. I think we all at some point had
definitely,
like we all succumb to this at some point. Like, it's weird. It's like, I feel like it's intrinsic. It's an intrinsic part of just being a man.
Yeah. Let's see how much I can do, right?
Yo, I'm like, okay, look, I can do weighted dips, right? Let's see how much weighted dips I can do before I pass out. That's literally in your mind how it goes. And then you're like, afterwards, you just regret the whole thing. You're like, okay, why did I do that? That's something else took over. It wasn't logic. It was something else. Completely.
This is like my equivalent of this was I was doing 5x5, which was on the first programs I got into.
Likewise, same. It was brilliant.
It's great for beginners.
That's a good beginner.
Yeah,
I would actually recommend, no joke, but I would actually recommend every dude, if he has not weightlifted in his day, 5x5 will set you up for whatever you want to do in the future as well.
Yeah,
100%.
5x5 is a really easy to follow. Yeah, exactly. Strength training and kind of muscle building in the middle ground. But so I was doing that.
Go ahead.
My back squat was going up, but then I hit a wall. And instead of kind of assessing, I was like, do you know what I'm going to do? Yeah. I'm not going to do 5x5 anymore. I'm just going to push the weight up. And just let the reps go down and just see how far I can take it. So I think this is like early on in my journey. I was maybe back squatting like 60 kg, nothing crazy. And I thought, I hit a wall around there, 60, 70, I hit a wall.
Yeah.
And I think I weighed even less than that. So I was squatting my body weight on my back and I was happy about that. But then I was like, okay, I want to get to 100.
I want to
I do more. I was like, I'm doing one plate. I want to get 2, right?
2 plates.
So I remember the first day I had 2 plates on the bar. And that's a big moment, right? Because of the first big moment, if you're really scrawny like I was, can just one plate. You get 2 plates on the bar and you're like, okay, I don't know. You get it on your back. You think this is heavy as fuck. Like, and you go down.
The weight of the world on your shoulder.
Definitely, bro. And anyway, ugliest back squat I've ever done in my life. I think I got it actually for 2, but it was super, like the form was terrible. It was more like a good morning, like, you know, you squat down, you try and keep upright, but
but then you end up doing some,
in this madness, and I ended up feeling a tiny twinge in my lower back, tiny, nothing crazy. And I just felt like an idiot. I was like, this is not worth it. And that's when my whole view on things changed. I was like, and I remember at the time there was 2, I think they were brothers or mates or something. They used to come in, mate. They used to just do the same workout every day. Every day they'd squat, they'd bench, and they'd do some rows or something. But it was all about like, how much could they squat? How much could they bench? So they'd just do that every day. And they'd come up to me and go, yeah, man. And they'd try and convince me to do it. And I'd be like, guys, like a few weeks ago, I pushed it to my limit. I've realized now I'm going to dial things back, train where I can and try and move things up and be a bit smarter about it. And they're like, nah, bro, no. Fast forward a year, right? I'd left, I think it was when I went to uni, came back. And I'd been training a bit more smart, not really smart, but I've been training a bit more smart. I'd at least been counting my protein, stuff like that. And I'd gained a bit of size from where I was. And they were like, mate, you've made some gains. And I was like, because I haven't been squatting and benching every day. I've been like following a plan, not changing things, that whole thing. But they were at the same place, bro. They were in the same exact place. They were trying to do the same squat. They came in one day with milk and they were like, we're trying to drink a gallon of milk a day. And
Oh,
like everything you'd see on like Reddit or something, it's like they've gone down a Reddit thread and they're like, I'm just going to try
they
all
just
of
got
this.
lost. They got lost in the sauce.
Yeah, they got lost in the sauce, man.
Oh no.
But you could just tell. And then I just didn't see them come to the gym anymore. I don't even know what happens to them. I'd love to know and see them again, but
probably fell off, man.
yeah,
Because when you don't see, because you know what, when you don't see progress, you just instinctively, bro, you get disheartened and you eventually stop. Like, you know, that's just how we are as human beings. But
yeah,
I'm like, yeah, but with, like you said, having a plan in place ensures that you don't get to that point. You can always keep progressing, you know, in the sense of, even if you have to make the workout harder by adding an alternate, like having a different variation of the workout. Like in Cali, that's what you do. You start off on the easiest progression, like press ups in the beginning. You just do them on your knees, then you go to your full, then you go, you know, decline, and then you start doing them on the rings and so on and so forth, or whatever. Yeah. Rings and add weight and all so on and so forth. So it's like, yeah, there's a progression, and you're not going to get there straight away. It takes months, it takes years, actually, should I say. Even for me to do rings properly, like it took, I can't even say I do them properly. I do them at a regular level. It literally takes you a year or two just to build up the tendon strength and all of those kind of things. You know, just having your arms out, you know, like just out for a long time. It's, yeah, you do need a plan, 100%. And you need to do the same thing. Like I'm telling you, you know, my Insta stories, bro, it's the same shit every day. Like there's not a variation. I might show you a different workout, but I'm telling you, I do that every day. 3 times a week, I do one thing. Another 3 times a week, I do a different thing. So one like training A is literally rings and Cali. Training B is like conditioning, core. That's it, and it's the same shit again and again. I rarely change what it is, like, you know. And you see the most gains and the most progress, like I said, after like literally 3 months, which is almost what I'm doing now. Like I think I'm in the best shape I've been in a while. So yeah, and I've been doing the same stuff for like a month and a half now. So I'm just gonna keep going till Christmas time. I track my calories. I watch how much protein I get. I make sure I get at least 170 grams a day, if not a bit more. Like, because I'm trying to come down in body weight, so it's like I'm eating enough protein for that body weight that I want to get to.
Yeah.
So yeah,
more based on lean mass, right? Yeah.
But lean mass is what I'm going for. So I'm losing weight quickly. Like I must have dropped maybe 4 kilos in 2.5 weeks, something like that.
Congrats.
So yeah,
that's good.
Literally, bro, it's tough. The first 2 weeks of any diet, I'm telling you guys, be prepared to fight your inner demons. And you will be having, it's an internal struggle. Like nothing external is gonna get ready for that. Yeah. But yeah, sorry to cut you off on that point. I was gonna say, what was the fifth? The final point. Yeah.
People focus too much on isolation exercises rather than compound.
Oh, compound is your best friend.
Compound is your best friend, exactly.
Yeah.
I went on a ramble. People watching this probably realize this about me already, but I was going to cut the video, but I was like, actually, let me just make these like bonus points because I like to put the timestamps on the video, right?
Yeah.
So I might watch this back and edit the description and timestamp it at some point soon. But the main point, like I said, was isolations over compounds over isolations.
Yeah.
And as far as I see it, if you can feel free to challenge me on this, especially if you're just like lifting weights or doing a bit of calisthenics, like just the basics, right? Maybe you're doing some push-ups or whatever, but you're just a beginner.
Yep.
There's only really 3. This is from training guys as well. So I'm training myself and training guys. There's only really 3 isolation moves you absolutely have to do for a kind of complete physique development. And these are the 3 I see. So lateral delts, so that side pop action on the shoulders. If you want that nice like capped look on the shoulders, you don't, pressing overhead gets it a little bit, but doing like some kind of side raise or upright row or maybe some kind of face pull gets that side capped look.
Yeah.
Training your biceps, just because even if you're doing a lot of pulling, because they're such a small muscle, what I find and what I found with a lot of our clients, and learned a lot of this from Renaissance periodization, is you could do a back workout and your back's sore the next day, but then your biceps, they recover a lot quicker than your back does, right? You feel soreness all the way down here. So it's like, okay, maybe if I threw in some curls, I could get some extra arm development. And then the last one is calves. Now, not everyone cares about their calves.
Calves.
Right? Calves. I know that's a weird one, but I'm saying
I love calves. I love calves.
You know, like if you overall, right, if you're talking about every muscle in the body, I would say, because some people might say like arms overall, you want to hit your triceps, but if you do anything with dips or like
you're already doing that.
pull-ups, close grip push-ups, you're already doing a lot of triceps and
compound, isn't it?
Yeah, compound and
bench press is gonna hit it.
Exactly.
Your rows are gonna hit it. Like
and unless you're doing all like just going back to the biceps, if you do all maybe chins with your palms facing you, or all your pulling is with palms facing upwards, maybe then you wouldn't need to do as much biceps. But I've just seen, like I said, those are the three where you absolutely especially lateral delts and calves, they're really not going to get much work from the average program, I don't think. But on top of that, I would say you have to be doing the compounds, man. That's your bread and butter. You have to
man, literally, bro. I think it was 5x5 squat, bench, row. That's all you're doing. Like literally, that's all you're doing. Squat, bench, row, and deadlift. That's it. Those are the only 4 exercises you're hitting in the whole routine, and that helps you. That alone puts you like so far in terms of just overall, because you engage every single muscle in the body at that point. To do a squat, you need to engage core. Deadlift, you need to engage core. Like shoulder press, you need to engage core. Bench, you need to engage core. Like it's doing you might not necessarily be doing abs like crunches, but you're still hitting it. You know, every workout is a core workout. To be honest, I can't fault it at all. Like I feel, Have you done, chin ups, right?
Yes.
Like chin up. On rings, bicep. Okay, rings is different, but now with rings, I do a lot of static holds. So your palms are facing a lot away from you, and that's what generates the growth in your bicep when you're doing like rings, as well as a lot of
and it'll be because it's in a stretched position, right? Like that way, if you hold yourself forward, right?
So if you're hanging, if you're just like, in the beginning, when you're building the stabilizer muscle in your shoulders and stuff, you just hang there, like just, arms out, just hang in there. And it actually puts a lot of tension on your bicep, especially the beginning, like right where the tendon meets the bone, basic, for example. And that's right where that muscle, like right where the muscle begins. Now it starts to pop, because that's literally, it's a small muscle. So it has no choice but to grow, to get stronger. But I learned that you can do your chin ups is basically your best friend, essentially, if you want to grow your biceps, but doing like pull-ups. So you just jump on the bar, chin ups, literally for days. If you've heard of Magic 7, right?
No,
you haven't heard of Magic 7. So with bicep, so if you're doing isolation for bicep,
are you doing like 21s kind of?
21s, but they call it Magic 7, right? So you're grabbing the dumbbells, and you start off with half rep. You get to the top, then the next one is the middle of the rep, half to full, and then at the end you do the full motion all the way, and that helps me grow my biceps in the beginning. But now with rings, the best thing I can do is chin ups Magic 7. Now that one is so hard. I can do maybe the first 7, and then after that coming down to halfway and then trying to pull up the rest, like for 7, insane. It's insane. But I definitely recommend, if you're doing biceps anyway, either Magic 7 with a dumbbell weight, which you can lift 20, you can do 21 reps with, or in the beginning, I'd say start about 5 to 8 kilos. That's enough each arm. That's enough. Between 5 to 8 kilos in the beginning, that should be about enough.
So those were the
isolation
focused on. Because I think a lot of guys, they'll go in and just do a bit of arms, and maybe a lot of guys will just be like, I'll just hit a bit of arms. But
I do back and chest, back and buys. You know about the classic, what they say, chest day. It's always chest day. Every day chest day.
Every day chest day.
But I've missed it.
The last point I was going to make about this is, I think you guys that are listening to this, if you have, because I was like this because of my ribcage deformity, I was like, I just want to work chest, right? But what I realized is, if I build up my body overall, it takes away visually, it's less of a thing, right? Because overall, you're more developed, if you see what I'm saying. And so it's kind of counterproductive. If you just want to grow your arms, okay, that can be a focus, but maybe if you grew your whole body overall, you wouldn't care as much about your arms, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think it's important for guys, like, it's okay to have a focus, but especially if you're a beginner, like, make sure you're training everything at least a little bit, especially your legs, guys. Like,
Legs,
don't be that
man.
guy. Don't be that guy.
Do not skip leg day. I'm telling you now, like, you can only skip leg day when your legs are already big. Like, you know what I mean? Like, like, one of my things is, I do skipping a lot of skipping. Now, it's not I would say it maintains legs. So I don't do legs that much these days. Like, maybe a couple of jump squats here and there, but like with weight and a couple of lunges, something like that. But nothing too crazy. I'm not squatting like back in the day. But to be honest, if I'm being 100% honest with people, I'm like a hybrid between the calisthenics and body, and bodybuilding is where you want to kind of sit. I think you can use both. I think using both, there's not one better than the other. I think using both will make you look good, and you'll be able to actually, your strength to weight ratio also go up as well. So yeah, you'll be building muscle, you'll be building muscle, which is functional. Like, my whole thing is functional strength. Like, I don't want to get big to look big, which is why I'm not obsessed with size and mass. I'm not really obsessed with that. I just want to be able to perform certain skills. Like, I want to be able to do a muscle up, at least one. I want to be able to do like ring holds. I want to do it for a minute. I want to do weighted dips. I want to do all of these things which can easily translate into the outside world. If I need to climb over a fence and I can just quickly get over, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what you be training in the gym.
Yeah.
So
why you be climbing over fences, bro?
Hey, bro, you know me. I'm running from people every day. But I'm just messing. But yeah, in general, you know how it is.
I know what you're saying. Yeah, definitely. And you are learning something, like you said. The last point I wanted to talk to you today about, man, was we've talked a lot about obviously kind of your beginnings, how we know each other, how I got into doing some of the stuff I do.
Yeah.
And talked about, obviously, a lot about training.
Yeah.
What would you say the main things for a guy our age and maybe a bit younger? Mm-hmm. What can they do to level up? And
in general,
in general, just general. So you could talk a bit more, like, obviously, go anywhere with this one that you want to go. But what can they do, and why is it? And why do you think it is important for guys to level up? So, what do you think about that?
Bro, it's literally this: muscles, mindset, game. That's it. Those are the only three things you need, man. Muscles, mindset, game. MMG. So muscles, obviously, we know this. You need to be in good shape. Being in good shape, more energy, healthy. Health is wealth. We know that. You can work more, do more if you're in a better shape. I've got the energy now to do a lot of things, whereas before, when I wasn't as active, I may not have had the energy to do it. I may not have been able to work. I may not have been able to work till like 3-4 a.m. without a break, for example, because I'd be feeling tired from carrying my heavy ass body around. Just to give you a background on that, I used to be like 104 kilos, like, back in the day. Now I'm 94, which is not even 10 kilos. Yeah, it's not even that big of a gap. But what I'm saying is that, you're way more, health is wealth. I can only put it back down to that. Definitely. And in general, like, a lot of the habits that you build from going to the gym every day, the discipline you build there, is going to carry over into your other kind of like avenues in life, your career. Yes. You're going to take that discipline into your career. You're going to have a strict regime, like, in terms of planning for the day, when you have your meetings every day. Like, for me, I'm a no by default guy. Like, if anyone says to me something, can you do this? I'm always like, no, I've got no time, or I got to check my calendar. Like, no, I'm going to check my calendar, because I'm very regimented in that way. Anything which takes me away from my main tasks,
boundaries, right?
Yeah. Anything which takes me away from my main task, I'm going to say no until I either can make space or if there's a slot free. So I'd say muscles is the beginning. And look, listen, for guys out there, like, come on, I don't know a single woman that doesn't like a dude who's in shape, like, to a degree. True, man. You don't need to be jacked, but you do need to at least have a bicep of some kind, or a chest of some kind, or a back of some kind.
I think it shows is sometimes more what it. Obviously, it's a appearance attraction thing first of all, but then I think second to that, it shows a level of, like, discipline. It's all the things that come with it, right?
Yeah, it's everything else. Like, I'm telling you, it's not just the going to the gym. It's just, if anything, use the gym as the, like, it's weird. It's weird.
Foundation.
first impressions, yeah, exactly, the foundation. Another thing is that first impressions count.
Yes.
And people can tell a lot about you by just looking at your appearance straight away. Like, what's your hair saying? You know, fingernails, shoes, dress sense,
Teeth,
body,
yeah, all of this
body,
stuff. Yeah.
teeth. Your body is the body's the whole thing. So it's like, if you're looking in shape, then they know already, like, and we know this psychologically, we've seen it, you know, scientifically, people give more respect to those people who are more in shape because they believe
Halo
that
effect, right?
they are more, yeah, they're more disciplined, which means they're a good business person, which means they're, you know, they'd be a good partner, they're trustworthy, they stick to, you know, a man of their word, or whatever you want to say. But yeah, like, first impressions count. So, you know, and it just allows you to have more opportunity. Like, someone would have written you off if you, let's say, for example, you're not in the best of shape. Someone will write you off because they're like, nah, I don't want to work with this person, they're out of shape, overweight. But you might genuinely be like the smartest dude. Like, you might have a lot of business knowledge, you might have a lot of this, but they didn't even give you the opportunity because from what they saw, like, from the first, you know, from the first second. So I'd say give yourself the best chance with this. Translates again with women.
Yeah.
It translates with other guys as well. Other guys tend to show respect to other men who are in better shape, you know.
Definitely.
So and carry that confidence. You got a way more confidence when you enter a room and you're in good shape. I'm telling you now, it feels different. Like, I'm seeing all these guys who are maybe not in as great shape, and it is what it is. It's just like, oh, okay, cool, you know, it's fine. But you know, it's not arrogance. It's more like you just have a aura. It's like an aura about you, saying that, yes, this space is sacred. I determine what goes into my body. I do this and that, and the ending result is, the byproduct is these gains, for example.
Yes.
And like I said, it gives you a lot of that confidence that you need in order to speak your truth, or, you know, speak what you want to get out into the world. It gives you that confidence in order to do that, because you know what it is, low key, it's like building the gains. It low key signals to other people that you can back up your arguments, like, on a physical standpoint too, as well as just a mental.
There is,
do you know what I mean?
There is definitely something to that, because I think martial art, like, because you're into your boxing at the moment. I've done Muay Thai.
Yeah, I literally just I'm not even, bro. I wouldn't even, if I'm a beginner in boxing. Don't worry, it's fine.
But
I wouldn't
still,
even say, yeah.
It's a similar thing, right? Where there's this misconception about people who do martial arts like boxing, Muay Thai, especially if it's like something which is full contact, not just like karate or whatever. Not that there's anything wrong with karate, but the ones where it's like especially violent, let's say,
MMA.
There's this like misconception, I think, where people will think these people are like super aggressive, but it couldn't be further from the truth, because they know more than anyone what people are capable of, right? Because they step in there every week, or maybe even sometimes every day, or multiple times a week, and they're like sparring, they're hitting pads, they're in the mix of it, getting in violent situations all the time. So they know when they walk in a room. There's like that scene in a Bourne movie. I don't know if you've seen the Bourne movies. It's like one of the first
I've seen all of them,
where he's sitting in the bar and he's like chatting to someone. He's like, I can tell you right now that guy back there, he's got a shotgun in his car. I can tell you that I can run 2 miles with. And obviously, like, real life is not always that extreme, but it's just knowing on some level that you're hard to kill, right?
Exactly, bro. Like, what was it?
On some level.
Is it like was it Jordan Peterson? You know, just the world is telling you to be tame. You shouldn't be a threat. You should cap your masculinity, or cap your strength and stuff. No, man, it's the other way around. You need to become a demon. You need to become a beast. You need to become a beast out here in these streets, and then learn to control it, because now you're actually useful to society. There's no point. And again, this trails into what Joe Rogan said. It's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war, because it's transferable. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's all I would say. Yeah, that's what I would say to do as a guy, in terms of the reason, one of the key things you should focus on, or leveling up, and which you can do straight away as well. Even doing 10 press ups, like now, like just quickly hitting 10, and then coming back and then hitting another 10 like 30 minutes later, like throughout the whole day.
Keep it on and do your 10 press ups right now.
Do your 10. I'm literally like, drop down, go get me 10, like right now. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like that. Like, it's something you can work on immediately, which will give you the ROI is insane. It's like it's unmatched. Like, you know, I can't really explain it. And then so that finishes my first point. So muscles is the first thing you want to work on.
Yeah,
that's fine. Now your mindset, so you don't just train your body, guys. You can't just be out here being a jacked guy with no IQ, like, low IQ ideas and stuff. No, you got to train your mindset as well. So I'm a big proponent of reading books, podcasts. I do, I study a lot of podcasts as well, and things which interest you as well. Like for example, for myself, I'm into intersexual dynamics. Like I love to see how men and women in this world are, like how they are currently versus how they were in the past. What are the ramifications of that?
Pros and cons,
pros and cons. And where you like to speculate where we could be or where we could go. So you look at the biology of it. How men and women differ. Testosterone, estrogen, all of these things which lead to us exhibiting different traits. There's a reason why the reason when we have testosterone, it gives us bigger muscle mass. That kind of stuff. So and then estrogen again. And women have a hormone called relaxin, a lot like that's why they're more flexible than we are, for example. So it's just leveling up in these little bits, like just mentally knowing a little bit about everything is I definitely say that can go far. And again, that just all this stuff translates into your career as well. If you want to level up in your career, the best thing you can do is to build these habits of learning. Like if you can learn faster or learn more efficiently than anyone in your job role, I'm telling you, even if you come in at the lowest entry point, you won't be there for long, because you'll just pick up everything like a sponge, suck it up. You maybe go watch a podcast on, like for example me, I'm in leadership. If I was to class my overall field, I'd say I'm in leadership and management. That's where I would put myself. Right now I'm in leadership and management. In that sense, I'm in charge of a team. I have to level the team up too, but I'm also a manager in the sense that I have to manage the overall operation, the daily running of a surgery too. Now, in the beginning, I did nothing. I would say to myself, I was not necessarily qualified at that point. But over the last 3 years, I have come to a level where it's now I'm comfortable leading a team of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 individuals, no sweat, because I have a plan. What I do, I know what works for me as an individual. I'm a very sociable guy. I like to think I come across as likable. But also on the other side is you've got to be able to be like stern, firm, etc. And you wouldn't know how to regulate these two things without learning how to control your emotions and so on and so forth, and just be logical about it and finding a way how to communicate with people as well. Like my thing is my one of my key things that I've been reading, studying about is there are different archetypes for people. Like there are different archetypes for people, and in terms of people behave in different ways, and you have to kind of adapt as a manager. You've got to know how to speak to people dependent on what type of personality trait they exhibit. And doing that, it's not necessarily saying you're fake. It's just, I'm going to speak to you in a way in which you can understand and which resonates with you.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, just on this point very quickly,
sure,
I think when you're young, there's this big emphasis on like, don't change for the crowd, right? And that's not what you're saying here. I know exactly what you're saying. What you're saying is there's an element, and it's not manipulation either. Like one of the best.
No, it is manipulation. No, it's straight up manipulation.
Okay, you could.
But with a caveat, everything in life is manipulation. Anytime you try to ask someone to do something,
no, you're exactly
manipulation. 100%.
You're exactly right. It's like we said earlier. It's like that mutual exchange, right?
Yeah.
If I direct you in the right way, not at your detriment, it's actually beneficial for you and me, right? So
exactly.
I actually fully agree with you, but what I should have said is it's not manipulation in the sense of it's to someone's detriment, like you're trying
it's not malevolent. There's no
malevolence in it. And you're exactly right that it happens all the time in life, and it's realizing that sometimes you have to lead the witness and make them feel like it's their idea.
100%.
That's a big part of it, because I'm listening to what's it called? How to Win Friends and Influence People. I think you suggested.
You're listening. Are you listening? Are you reading? Or listening? Your audio.
Audiobook.
Bro, that's Dale Carnegie. Is that Dale Carnegie, right?
Yeah.
Legend in the game. That was one of the first books I read when I became a manager, and that shit just blew my mind, man. And I have to reread it occasionally because you forget.
There's so many nuggets. Like there's so many good bits in it.
So many, yeah.
But you are exactly right, man. I like it. I'm glad you correct me on that, because it's something I think it's key to realize when you're young. is
Mm.
sometimes you feel like, oh, is this person controlling me? Is this person trying to get me to do something that I don't want to do? But maybe
Yeah.
it's in your best interest. It might be, yeah, okay, it's in theirs. It's like if I'm bringing a guy on board to our coaching,
There you go.
it's that I genuinely think it will change their life in a positive way. Okay, yeah, they're
Yeah.
paying me for the services. Or,
Yeah.
oh, I'm such a criminal, I charge for my services, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it's thinking, is this good for the both of us? And that's what it says in the book is
Yeah.
you need to be doing things that are genuinely good for you and the people
Yeah.
that you're accountable for as a
Yeah.
manager, as a
Yeah.
coach,
Yeah.
as a son, as a brother, as a father, if you've got kids, whatever it
Yeah.
is. What I like about that book as well is it tells you different examples from so many walks of life. So it
Yeah.
talks about the kid who was wetting his bed and
Yeah.
how they got him to started treating him like a man, like as an adult, took
Yeah.
him to get his first bed, his first pajamas, all of this stuff, making him feel
And he
like it was his
stopped.
idea.
Yeah.
He stops wetting the bed, which is better for the parents, obviously, but it's better
Yep.
for
Yep.
him
Yep.
because
It's
he
better for him.
is no longer, he loses that part of being a baby
Mm.
almost and becomes, a young lad.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Sorry, go back to
But
your
no, no,
point.
no.
But I
But
think
do you know
that's
what it is?
so key, man.
On manipulation, right? Manipulation is so like it's crazy. People always think of manipulation in a negative way.
Yes.
It's like I said, once you start looking at it like life is manipulation, I'm telling you now, the master manipulators of the world are children. They can get you to do anything for them.
So true.
Bro, and I've seen it happening, and in front of me, like even my little brother, got everything he wanted. I was like, yo, is this guy a better manipulator than me, or what's going on? I mean, now I'm looking at it, I'm like, yo, this guy definitely master
You had to play
manipulator.
the game.
Yeah, he knows how to play the game.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. That's what it is at the end of the day, knowing how to play the game. And you just like, I look at children, I'm just like, yo, these suckers, they really got adults on their fingertips, running around doing this and that, getting them toys which the adults don't want to buy, but they still get it for them anyway. They put on a cute face, or they'll ask nicely, or they'll be good for so there's different behaviors as well. So this is it. In order to be likable.
You're so right.
Yeah.
And it happens from such a young age to the point where what one of my friends, they've had a baby together. They've actually just had another to be fair to them.
Congrats to them.
Congrats to them. But when they had their little girl, their first kid, the mum is just, you can see she's such a good mum, so attentive of her daughter, gives her everything she needs, is just there for her.
Yeah.
And the daughter's like, you can see it in children where some of them want to be the center of attention, some of them are quite shy, right? There's just that depending on your temperament. You can see she just loves being center of attention. And one thing that was super interesting was all around having a barbecue, and she's just off and away doing her own thing, center of attention. Everyone's looking at her, and I think she maybe banged her foot or banged her head slightly, just only a little bit. And she didn't cry instantly. This is the interesting thing, right? Her mum is going to go to pick her up, but she's like, don't make a big thing out of it, because then she'll start crying. And I think it happened again or something. I don't know if I'm remembering this correctly, but at a certain point, I remember I reacted to it, and she was like, "No, don't react to it." And then she started crying. Right? She didn't cry instantly when she hurt herself. She cried when she saw that I could see, because she looked at me. She started crying, and then she's like, "Oh," and then she's got her on her shoulder and settling her, and then she settled really fast. But she's almost like she knew on some level, exactly like you're saying, we all manipulate in our own way.
100%.
Because we're all trying to get what we want out of life, right?
That's it. And you allow yourself to be look on some levels as well. You're being manipulated, but you're allowing it. It's for your benefit. You're being manipulated in a beneficial way. It's fine. It's fine. It's almost like brainwashing, but in a good way, for your own benefit.
And one of my biggest mentors, someone I work with, who taught me a lot of what I know in tech.
Yeah.
He told me he was in this big meeting once. And someone said, "You're a manipulator," and he said, "Thank you," back, because he said that makes me a good consultant, because a lot of the time people know what they want, but they don't know what they need. Right? I'm going to say that one more time for the audience: is you may think you know what you want, and you might be right, but you don't necessarily always know what you need to get what you want. And the best operators in life, and I think we agree on this, is the people who will lead you to getting what you want by giving you what you need, and almost making you think it's your idea, right? Like you lead the witness in a way where it's like, well, I know I want this. How do I get this? And you say, well,
Yeah.
actually, these are the ways that you can go about getting it. And this is why it's going to be effective for you. And like, okay, I'm going to go and do that, right?
Yeah.
One thing I like to do with my clients is I'll say, what do you think you can do better next time? And
Yeah.
a lot of the time they know the answer, right? Like for some people, well, for everyone, calories in versus calories out works. But for some people, if you've got the
Yeah.
whole multi-pack of crisps, even though you know about calories in versus calories out, maybe you just always eat the whole multi-pack. So maybe the thing you need to do next time is don't buy the bloody multi-pack, right? Instead of
That's it.
buy
By individual packs, man. Just
buy
get like,
individual packs or something,
yeah.
right?
Instead of 6, get 4.
Exactly. And
That
a lot of
helps.
the time they'll know this. So when I ask them, they're like, I won't do it. And then they come back to me the next time we have a call. They'll be like, oh, I only bought an individual pack. I enjoyed it. I don't feel like I'm cutting out things I like, but I didn't have the whole multi-pack, so I wasn't tempted.
Yeah.
And they've come up with the idea themselves. And people, I think it's people like to feel empowered, right? People like to feel like they're in control a lot of the
100.
time.
It is basically, that is your role as a leader. You lead the way, right? And show them how to do something, but then you come back and you also tell them, look, you also show them like, look, at the end of the day, it is in your power to make that change or do that thing. And them knowing that, they're more likely to take it on board as opposed to rejecting the idea completely. Because if you just tell someone to just do this, do that, they're more likely to be like, no, I'm good, thanks. It doesn't resonate with who I am or whatever, what I'm like, which is where I said you've got to respond to the different archetypes that you find in people. So yeah, there are some people who are more agreeable than others. Some people are more, disagreeable, but ultimately there is a way to get all of these individuals to do something which you want. If you're in that position, leadership and management, which is why it's a position with a lot of responsibility. The famous age old quote, with great power comes great responsibility. So yeah, there's that too. So you can't abuse that manipulator role.
No.
That,
and
you know what I'm saying?
We said, it can't be at their detriment, but it's good for both of you, right?
But it's good for both parties. Like I'm getting what I want out of you. Like you're becoming more productive for me, but you're also leveling up in terms of the skill. There's that too. You're going to take that skill away. I've given it to you. I can't take it away again.
I think people sometimes people have like a problem with this. It's like, but why? Like I'll speak to some people. They don't want to know this. It's like kind of like they want to live with a naive lens. Like,
yeah, bro. People don't want to be unplugged. They don't want to be unplugged.
Exactly. People don't want to be unplugged, man.
Let them sleep.
Exactly. Leave them to it, right?
Yeah.
The last thing.
Just quickly to go. Yeah. Before you take me off as well. The last one was game. So just again, this is.
Go.
If it's targeted towards guys, you've got to learn you've got to understand the female species, my guys. So yeah, that's the last thing. I mean, it takes a lot of time, but again, you just got to interact with them more. And yeah, don't hate them for what they are. More, just get to understand them, get to know them, and just move accordingly with all that knowledge.
The problem is not all the girls, guys. The problem is probably you. But the cool thing about that is you can do something about it. If the problem was genuinely with all the girls, which it's not, then you wouldn't be able to do anything about it, right? So flipping it, instead of getting downtrodden, and what do you like? Why do you think it's important for guys to level? For guys to focus on these things? Why do you think it's important
for them to focus on all of these 3 things I just mentioned? Bro, better society, period. Think about it. What do you get when you get a guy who has no muscles, the mindset's whack, and he's not good with women? First of all, dude probably gets frustrated at girls and is probably upset at the way that which girls move in this day and age. Secondly, the mindset isn't there, so therefore the IQ can't get higher. Also, in terms of their ideas, they're quite basic and fundamental or rudimentary. And then lastly, in terms of muscle, dude is already going to be kind of at a disadvantage, not able to kind of back up what he's saying. So he's already going to be like timid, shy. And it's those people that you need to fear, because they will, if they cannot back up the argument physically, they will most likely go towards that side of a weapon, or they'll use psychological ways in which to get what they want. Again, the manipulation in the negative light. Now, in terms of society as a whole, when men do better, society does better as well. So that's my thing. So the more men you have in the lower kind of quadrant, in terms of the lower kind of edges of society, in terms of, like, I'd say maybe in terms of like career, finances, all of those kind of things, when you have guys that are generally upset at taking it out on women or taking it out on, you know, themselves, they either take it out on themselves, like, you know, hence suicide rates are through the roof, or they end up taking it out on other women, which again, it doesn't bode well for guys as a whole, because again, it lumps us all in with those like that small minority of guys. So I think the best thing that men can do is to level themselves up in order to, one, level up, like they'll have a better life, and in them having a better life, they'll want to do better in their career. They'll bring in more money, be better with women. And then at the end of the day, it's like, again, society usually tends to benefit from when guys are in that state as opposed to another. So yeah, but again, I guess in another part we can talk about that war on masculinity. But yeah, that's something else, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think that's a good thing to end on, man. So I want to
100%.
Where can people find you first and foremost? Because I know you're on Insta.
Yeah. So on Insta, I believe my name is Mystic Moose. It's still Mystic Moose, I think. Yeah, you can find it under Mystic Moose. 94. Yeah, so yeah, Mystic Moose 94 on Instagram. I'm mostly on Instagram, to be honest. So yeah, I don't really Facebook, you can add me if you want, but I'm not really active on Facebook. But yeah, you'll mostly find me on Insta, Mystic Moose 94. If you want your daily installment of positivity, fitness in general, like, you know, just advice, how to be a better version of yourself. I call it on my bio, from zero to hero. That is literally the journey we are on right now. Started at nothing, started from the bottom. Now we're here where I am now. I'm going to keep going, and I'm just showing people the journey. That's all. I'm taking them on a journey. Everyone loves to watch the hero, develop and rise.
Journey. Yeah.
Exactly. Everyone loves to watch the hero's journey, right? So yeah, I'm just trying to show people that it is possible if you put your mind to it, you know. And in all avenues of life, it doesn't just have to be fitness. It can be career as well, and it can also be, again, with women too, or in general, whatever you choose to focus on, you know, it can be done.
I love it. I love it, man. Well, thank you for coming on. Like I said, guys,
I appreciate it.
If you want to kickstart your transformation, you can click the link in my bio. I might add it to the description as well, but you'll definitely find it in my bio, my link tree. It's the first link on there for our free challenge. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell. We'll see you in the next one. Thanks, Moose, and have a good day, man.
Peace out, my G. Peace out.
Peace out, man.
See you guys later.